Let's see, which one was, remember the question that I asked of Patrick? I can dig it in here if, unless you remember what it was.
I think you asked, I'm Dave Holland, Parks Director for the county. I think you asked about, you were asking about the management of the mountain, I believe.
Okay.
And I don't remember the context, so I can give you a quick overview. Where the mountain manager of the county is, we have a team that represents, so to speak, both sides of the aisle in this room right now, called the Technical Advisory Committee, that helps put together the recommended management actions we're going to do in any given year, given the budget. And then that goes before the Board of Trustees, which is the cities associated and the county, city managers and the county manager associated with the mountain and the development. And so that goes before them. Clay is on that, and we bring that in annually to prove where we spend the money.
Okay. Well, speaking about spending the money, so this particular project would, has the potential to generate quite a bit more money for the HCP. Yeah, I guess the question is, if you had this money, would it make a significant impact on the survival of the endangered butterflies that are on the mountain?
Well, certainly we'd have a lot more money to treat more acreage and create more grassland. It's a pretty direct effect. At this point right now, and Patrick was talking a little bit about how we go about treating areas and some change that's taken place. Right now, with the amount of money that we do have, we've been treating on average 500 to 600 acres, but we have to go back and repeat treating the same acreage because of the invasives and the lack of fire and grazing. If we had those tools, it'd make a big difference in the amount of acreage that we could deal with, and it'd be much less costly once you put in the infrastructure for grazing. Stock ponds, fences, those kind of things are expensive.
What type of engagement does the county do to reach out to the local environmental groups? Working with them as partners?
Well, a number of them work on the Hill. San Bruno Mountain Watch and others work as volunteers as well with the county up there. The TAC is an open meeting, and so all of the deliberations we have when we have that meeting are open to the public to come observe, and usually they participate. But it is a technical advisory group.
So
it's the scientists and others that work on the mountain.
Okay, and some of those people that are part of that group belong to certain environmental groups.
And like TRA, Joe Cannon, Ken McIntyre is on that, so Michelle Salmon comes. So.
Okay. If other council members have questions for Dave, then I can go through my list of questions here and see which questions are more appropriate for Dave than for the staff.
Do other council members have questions for Mr. Holland?
Yeah.
Go ahead, Si.
Sorry. Let me get my mic turned on. Throughout these proceedings, I kept hearing that the HCP is not working. It's no good. It doesn't do what it's supposed to do, etc., etc. I don't know what the alternative is, get rid of it or what, but what you've pointed out now, in fact, I'll give you I'll read you a little remark here. Furthering the support of the HCP will not improve its contribution to science. It is a political tool to take land, nothing else. That's pretty harsh, but so you do work constantly on the mountain.
Yeah, I would not agree with that, but for a number of reasons. So my background is I'm a biologist, 30 years of practicing entomology primarily, in forest, insects, diseases, storm events, and fire. HCP, first of all HCPs are in agreement generally to sustain a threatened species and balance that with whatever the activity in this case, it's development. And it's designed to work both. There's a lot of opinion as to whether that works. This HCP has, in my view, been successful in keeping habitat on the mountain. If we had fire like the Native Americans used, if we had grazing like the early Europeans and others used, we would maintain those grasslands, but under a natural succession process, coastal scrub begins to take over. And that's what's going on right now, and we're looking at what's the best way to mitigate that. That's aside from what small footprint the development has on that mountain. And I think so far we've been successful in keeping some limited acreage open, as Patrick mentioned. So we have about 1,250 acres of grassland. The goal was to move back toward the historic level of 1,800 acres of grassland. Would it make a difference with more money? Sure. Would we reach 1,800? I don't know. We have to look at how we prioritize the projects with a group and where we go from here.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Come up, Patrick, if you want.
He was pointing out the 1,800 number, the historic level, came from the 1930s.
Oh, okay.
Of course, fire is not all that simple for you to use. You've got to get permission from the Air Quality Control Board now.
Yeah, fire is a challenge. And for a number of reasons. Fire is scary to begin with, but that mountain has a lot of wind currents on it. It's, as any of you know that live up here, the wind does blow fairly regularly. So it's a real challenge to find the timing in the window, which almost happened correctly in wax myrtle, but didn't quite. But Patrick mentioned it. We're looking at that down in Edgewood Park, trying to burn some areas to create the grassland, and looking at natural barriers there. We're using roads, but we would almost have to grid the mountain to create some barriers to burn some areas. But it's certainly a tool that could be used. It's a challenge with the politics.
What's your opinion of this, of the Calippi Hill issue?
Well, I'll leave that to the biologists that practice regularly here. I've only been here 5 years.
Oh, well, Newcomb.
This isn't my strength from an ecological standpoint.
Thank you very much, sir.
Yeah, I have another question. So the area that where Calippi Hill is located, currently it's in private hands. This project proposes to prohibit housing in that area. Because it's in private hands, do you still manage it even though it's in the HCP, or do you only manage the?
We manage the county-owned lands.
The county-owned land. Okay.
We do coordinate with the adjacent lands and landholders.
Have you ever done any management work in that area?
Do you know the answer to that, Patrick? I would have to see it on a map, to be honest, to be sure about what area.
Which area you're specifically referring to?
Around Calippi Hill.
Oh, yeah. There's been 27 years of habitat management done on Calippi Hill. That's the whole reason that the...
Well, and now Calippi Hill has been prohibited from building houses for a long time. I'm talking about the area where the 108 townhouses were proposed to be built from the 1989 agreement.
Habitat management has been focused on the east side of that eucalyptus grove. The west side of that grove, which into that ravine, was expected to be developed, and we focused the efforts on the east side of the grove to protect those areas. Yeah.
Okay, so management has been occurring in those areas.
Yeah.
Okay. Right. Thank you.
Okay,
That it?
thank you.
You got any questions, Seppi?
No, I'm good.
Thank you, Dave.